everybody.
Hi everyone.
Welcome to Twinset and Purl's Knitting Podcast, episode 31.
And we are somewhere else.
You watch us all the time, you'll realise that we're not
Yeah.
in our usual location.
It's been a little while since we podcast, hasn't it? And we're visiting our dad.
So should we start with introductions?
Oh yeah. We never do it right, do we? So I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jo. And we are
Twinset and Purl.
Twinset and Purl.
We designed together as Twinset and Purl. I'm Twinset and Purl on Instagram and Ravelry.
And I'm Jojo Butler on Instagram and Jojo B on Ravelry.
And I'm also the youngest Butler twin on Instagram. Have my own account as well.
We used to share our Twinset and Purl account
We
on
did.
Instagram, and then Instagram did some stuff with two-factor authentication, and we can't be both logged in.
So I do all the, I do most of the social media stuff now. Yeah,
So we're in.
if you're returning viewers, welcome back.
Yeah, sorry.
And if you're new, welcome as well. It's lovely to have you here, and we're quite excited to be coming to you from where we're coming from. We're visiting our dad on the Isle of Man. He lives here with he's lived here since he married our stepmum, and I haven't actually seen him in real life since July 2019. So it was quite emotional yesterday when we arrived. But
I saw him in March. I think
Yeah.
if you watch,
you'll have heard of our dad if you
Yeah.
watch the podcast. So we're going to have a little
segment
later
hopefully
on with our stepmum and our dad.
Our stepmum's a knitter, so she really started knitting again during lockdown, didn't she? And so she's going to share
Her whips,
some of
not her whips.
Yeah, she hasn't got a whip at the moment.
Yeah, she's got some yarn to show.
And our dad's going to talk about his love of knitted things, because he gets a lot of knitted things from us.
And I'm going to be talking about some presents that I made them as well today. So we've got lots to talk about. So we better get on with. So we've got admin bit, which is our KALs that are going on.
So we've got Scrappy Socks KAL,
which is running until the end of January next year, or in February next year.
And we've got a winner for this quarter, and that person is JHC72. Thank you for putting your Scrappy Socks in the FO, and if you could get in touch with us, we'll have a little prize that will be coming out to you.
Yes, your name will be in the show notes, and all the information that we talk about today will be in the show notes below. And our email address is there as well. So we'll put a little present together.
Yeah.
We didn't bring anything with us.
And then the other admin bit is for not KAL related.
Yeah.
We also have a thread in our Ravelry group. But if you like this podcast, and it'd be a great one if you could like and subscribe. But two, we have a Ravelry group, and we have a thread in there for knitting our pattern. Anybody who's knitting any of our patterns, but also any other patterns you're knitting. So we share all of our knitting, giving people lots of inspiration.
Yeah. So there is a thread specifically for our patterns that you're knitting.
And we've picked a
we
winner
pick a winner every month from there, and they win a prize from Ravelry, a pattern as the prize from Ravelry, and it does not have to be one of our patterns. It can be any pattern.
Any pattern you want. We will buy you a pattern from Ravelry.
We say this every time, and usually the winner wants one of our patterns. So, but you do not have to have one of our patterns.
So the winner of that is the Pickled Beetle. It's Pickled Beetle, not the Pickled Beetle. Pickled Beetle. So we'll be in touch on Ravelry. We can touch
both of them on Ravelry.
Yeah, we'll be in touch, and then you can.
And we're going to try and speak up a little bit, because somebody commented that we speak too softly.
Oh right, okay.
So hopefully we're not shouty.
Yeah.
My voice is really affected by the steroids that I take. So it feels, and on this weekend's my first start of a new cycle, it feels very deep, but croaky.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try harder.
Anyway, to explain a little bit about where we are.
Yeah.
Our dad lives in sheltered accommodation, British Legion sheltered accommodation on the Isle of Man.
He's 86 now.
And we're staying in the guest room in the sheltered accommodation home,
Which happens to be next door to his flat. So it's
and
very convenient.
yeah, we looked into coming to the Isle of Man. Now the Isle of Man is actually a very expensive place to come and visit in the summer because it's very popular.
Yeah.
There's lots happening here. It's a lovely island. There's lots of variety, and it's a short flight from Liverpool, Bristol, Oxford, and a lot of people come here.
The flight was full yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, and in June they have the TT races, and then they've got some other
The Grand Prix is in August. Yeah,
Is that
next
cars,
weekend.
not motorbikes?
No, it's motorbikes.
Oh right, okay.
It's people who don't make the TT.
Oh right.
It's like the next level down.
So it's really busy, and the hotel. We were looking at Airbnb, and we were looking at hotels.
And they were the same price.
Yeah,
It's like 600.
and it was going to be £600 for the weekend. So instead, we organised staying in the guest room, which is the old people's, which is lovely, and it's a twin room. We've got a single bed each, and we've got tea and coffee, and some snacks, and a bathroom,
and a nice chair to rest our tripod on.
Yeah, and next door is our dad,
Yeah.
so it's perfect.
Yeah.
So we've got lots of stuff planned this weekend. We're having a little trip to the Laxey mill.
Where they weave fabric.
They weave fabric, yeah. But we're going to see if they I think they sell some of the Manx yarn. So I'm hoping to buy some Manx yarn. I'm excited about that. We're having some meals out, and some, depending on the weather, we think the weather's going to be awful. Very windy yesterday, and we think there's some rain coming. But we're going to make the most of it. It's not about that. It's about coming to see our dad. So. Yes, we're here, and it took a long time yesterday to get here with some delays, but we're here. And we're here till Monday, so that's great.
Sorry for the...
It's all right.
I've got lots of wool on, so
we're going to be quick with getting the next item on the... So we've got a new pattern release.
Is that all the admin?
The only other KAL that's going on is the Alpine Bloom, which we'll
shawl.
talk about in a little bit when I show my FO.
That's running until the end of September, isn't it?
Yeah. So, yeah, we had a new release yesterday, which was the Maggie shawl.
Well, it's not the Maggie shawl.
It's Maggie's shawl. Because we are raising money for Maggie's Centre in Oxford. And that, if you're in the UK, you possibly know what Maggie's is, but if you don't, Maggie's...
That's me tissues, I can...
Yeah. Maggie's is a place where it's specifically designed for people who are having treatment with people and their families who are having treatment for cancer, and it's a lovely, tranquil place. It's designed. It's a really lovely building that's designed.
Oxford is lovely. I haven't been to another one. So.
Yeah. Well, I happened to be in Dundee the other week, and I went to the V&A Museum in Dundee, and they had a whole exhibition about Maggie's.
The architecture
of Maggie's. And anyway, so it's built, so it's in the trees, and it's a really lovely, tranquil area. You can just go and sit and have a cup of coffee and a biscuit, and there are people there if you want counselling.
So you can have scheduled counselling. You can just chat. All the people who permanently work there can talk to you about. There's volunteers who will chat to you and make coffee, and then there's financial people, and they do yoga and fitness things, and they do that look good, feel better thing, all sorts of things. And I've been going there for 7 years now. Well, I didn't go when I was in remission because I wasn't. If I was going to the hospital, I'd pop in and stuff, because when you go a lot, you can have free coffee there. It can add up if you're buying a coffee if you're going twice a week or whatever. Anyway, and they're so lovely, and they always remember you. I always knit, so people remember me. But it is just a lovely place, and they've been particularly helpful in the last year. So we just decided.
So I designed the shawl, and you'll have seen this shawl on the podcast before.
I'll take mine off as well.
I designed this shawl using some minis that I got at Unravel in February from the Kami yarns. She had, I think they're left over from her advent.
Yeah.
So they're
Was
all
it
very
Corriedale?
Corriedale sock. Oh, I've got a little end sticking out.
Ooh.
So I picked some tonals and some variegated, and came up with this idea. And it's basically a long crescent shawl, garter
Side to
stitch,
side.
with an I-cord, tip to tip, with an I-cord edge on one side and this little lace along the bottom. So if you've never done lace before,
It'd be nice and easy.
It's a perfect.
And-
Let's do it
and-
in light. Oh, I've got a stitch marker in there.
And it is addictive. How long have you had that? I've been wearing that. It is addictive, I can tell you. I've finished mine since, it's been quite a while since the last podcast, and I've got lots of FOs, but it's all I wanted to knit on.
And the stripe section of it, I mean, we haven't done one not striped,
No.
but I think stripes are always addictive and you always want to get on to the next thing. So,
And especially minis, you want to just get on to the next mini.
So this is a regular pattern of stripes.
Until you're in the middle.
And until I ran on this side, I kind of ran out of yarn a bit, but it's generally 12.
Yeah, so mine's
12 of each colour.
Mine's a little bit different.
What was I going to say? Yeah, so it makes this short. Anyway, so I designed this, and while I was doing it, I was like, why don't we?
Well, we thought we wanted to call it after. We named it after Maggie. Didn't
Yeah.
So our friend Maggie, who's is amazing test knit. Well, she's now an amazing friend, but she started off. We met her at Flock, and she started test knitting for me, now she and I chat every week for a couple of hours about all sorts of things as well as knitting, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
And
so this one,
if anyone's going to the southern show, she's coming with me.
Yeah, and I don't know if the yarn, if you like this one, don't know if the yarn's available, but it's always worth having a look on the
And I'm sure you could
Kami website just to see if they've got some minis.
Yeah, and you could do similar colours, couldn't you?
But also if you've got an advent,
yeah, it's perfect.
Perfect. So on the pattern, we give a few suggestions of how you could use up scraps, how you could do it. So this was the original one,
and it's all the proceeds. So it's because it's on our charity patterns. There's no discount this weekend, but from this pattern, all the proceeds will go forever to Maggie's Centre in Oxford, and we additionally from the 11th to the 31st, we're giving all the proceeds from all of our sales to Maggie's Centre.
Yeah.
So and also they're going to raffle off.
Yeah, we're going to donate this into a raffle, and they're going to raffle this one. And
we're going to do it a bit later when people are thinking more about wearing knitwear.
Yeah.
And then mine's going to be raffled as well. So mine is minis that were given to me by Maggie. Well, not given to me. We did an advent swap, and these were part of my advent swap. So
so the other thing is that it's the reverse side of the stocking.
Yeah, so
the garter, so you get a more muted.
Yeah, because if you look at those, it's very stripy, and then you look that side, and it's So it is, and I've got plans. I think I've got plans for 3 more. That's all I want to knit.
Pinks and blues.
I'm supposed to be casting on a new sweater, but I want to knit shawls. Yeah, so I'm not putting that back on. Very warm. Anyway, it's gorgeous.
And I've got another one in my whips. So I've done a slightly different process for my striping. So I'll explain that in my whip when I get to my whips.
Now I'm going to talk about what we're wearing, which is also
a KAL. This is
that's the KAL.
This is part of the KAL.
And then part of our FOs, isn't it?
So we've both finished a tea since the last podcast. Yeah. Do you want to talk about yours first?
Yeah, so mine is the Salty Air Tea by Samantha Guerin. And I've shown it on the podcast before as a whip. And I had 3 skeins of Peony Memory from Botanical Yarn that looked like a bit of a fade. They were not from the same batch. But I think it looks like I planned it. I'm going to stand up just a little bit so you can see the bottom. So this is, and it does look a bit darker in real life, I think.
Yeah.
But it, so I managed to, and this is size 6, which, because I've got a bit bigger. over this year. But normally I get the whole yoke and I get past it into the sleeves with the first skein on a sweater. But this time,
yoke, though, isn't it?
yeah, but this time I didn't. And it was good because it meant that I'd split the sleeves with the second skein, so I could go back and do the little cuff and the little bit on the cuff in the second skein.
Yeah.
And then I used, I
The third
think,
skein,
about half the third skein. And I did add length. I added probably 2 or 3 inches because I knew that I wanted to wear it with jeans and not dresses.
It's nice because the base colours changes, but the speckles are
Yeah.
still quite even.
So they're quite dark up here. But it's a lovely pattern and it's so easy. If it is your first lace sweater, you put a marker between each of the repeats, so you can't really go wrong. You know you've gone wrong quite quickly. And yeah, it's lovely. I would like a...
It took you longer than you thought.
It did. I mean, it's a
didn't
deep yoke, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I was doing lots of other things as well.
So with the site, do you remember how many stitches you had before you split the sleeves?
No.
So over 400?
Yeah. It was over 400. But once I was on the body, it became my 30 minutes of knitting every day.
Yeah.
So then I could do like an inch, maybe an hour of knitting each day.
Yeah.
So it was like an inch a day, and then you just want to finish it, so you get on with it.
Yeah.
And this is the first time I've worn it. I steam blocked. I haven't blocked. I didn't want to wet block it because I didn't want it to get any bigger, because it would be quite heavy when it's wet. So I just literally put it on the ironing board and steamed it, moving it around. I've got a steamer, proper steamer, didn't use the iron. And yeah, I love it.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm going to wear it out for Sunday lunch tomorrow. We're going to a new place. That sounds quite posh. Yes. So that's my first FO.
And this is my FO. So this is the Alpine Bloom by Caitlin Hunter, who's Boyland Knitworks. And I think I showed it. I'd done the yoke.
Yeah.
Split for sleeves, and I'd finished the first skein on the body. And then I put it on pause for a little bit while I finished some shawls that had to go to testing and need to be ready for samples when they launch with the different yarn dyers.
Just tell them what you did with the sleeve.
Oh yeah, I will. So then I picked it up again this week, knowing that I wanted to get it finished for the podcast. And first, before we do that, I'll share the yarn. I don't know, can you see the yarn? Is that on it? There it is. So I used Falling For You by Birdstreet yarn as the contrast, and then this is called Karibu by, I can't remember.
Oh, it was a German. German, I think.
Schwedenrot Yarns, and this is merino cashmere silk. So it's just beautiful yarn.
The colour, for me, it's just I think it is my favourite colour.
Yeah,
I just love like a dusky salmon pink.
And I've got enough left over that I'm going
It
to
looks so good with your tan.
Yeah, I'm going to knit a pair of socks with the leftovers. I haven't decided if I'm just going to do vanilla with
some Maggie socks.
Yeah, or I might knit the Everyone's Beautiful socks
to weigh it and
with the two. I might do a shorty pair.
Yeah,
but just I just love the colour so much. And while I was knitting it, I was like, can you see the actual colour work? And you can. I just think it looks like a carpet bag.
It does.
I absolutely love it. And I love this little bit of the lace collar. We were saying the other day, weren't we, that there's a few people who haven't done the lace on the cuff.
Yeah.
And then there's people who haven't done lace on the...
I know.
Why would you do?
I have to say, I just have to tell you that Pixie Yarn, Sophie from Pixie Yarn, has finished one in her yarn, inspired by our KAL, which is lovely. She said thanks for running the KAL. If you're on Instagram, go on Pixie Yarn and just see her. Hers is a muted one like Jo's.
But in blues, isn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful. So just go and have a look and be, maybe you want to knit a second one.
Yeah. So my husband was in London for 3 days this week, so that means that I can get up early and knit in bed. It wouldn't normally do, because I don't like to disturb him. But I knit one cuff one morning, and then started the other cuff. Got home from work, finished the cuff, grafted one on, and the grafting. You got to Kitchener 100 stitches.
Yeah.
So it's quite a.
You have to get in the flow, don't you?
Yeah, and I was like, can I stay up and graft the other one? And then I looked at it and I realised I'd made them different lengths. In my haste to get it done. One was 7 repeats and it should have been 8. And that was the one that's the one I grafted. And then the other one was 8, and I needed to. But there's you do this row of eyelets at the top, so I had to unpick that and the 2 rows of this repeat, and then re-knit that and then graft it on. But I still managed to get it done, and then
finish the body.
And then that day, I finished the day at work. I knit the body, and I did a bit of extra rib. She only does half an inch of rib on the bottom, but because I've done mine a bit more cropped than she did.
Even than hers.
Right. Because I want to wear it. I really want to wear it over a dress.
Yeah,
and it looks alright over a t-shirt, jeans. So she did half an inch, and I've done 2 inches of rib. But I knit a size 4. I went up a needle size because I cannot get Caitlin Hunter's gauge on her needles. I'm a too tight a knitter, so I knit. The top should have been 3.25, and I did 3.5. I did 4mm on the colour work, and 3.75 on the rest of it, and then 3.5 on the rib at the bottom. And it should have been 48 inches.
Yeah.
And I've got 44 inches.
But you haven't wet blocked it?
No, I've steamed it. And I still think I've got lots of positive.
Yeah, I don't think you need it any bigger.
No. I'm liking it because it's not.
Because it's got silk in the yarn, it's drapey.
And I've also knit a Misrina by her, and that was in the size 2. So I probably should have done a size 3. And I should have done that one in the size 3, and we'd be perfect.
Yeah.
No,
but you read it on there.
I don't know that it fits. That's really cropped. That I knit that comes.
Right.
I did this this is a good 3 inches longer than the Misrina.
Right.
But that is for wearing with a very specific dress.
Right. Okay then.
So yeah.
It's a jumper.
But it's a beautiful pattern. The yoke just goes so quick because the colour work's really interesting, and then you've got, like any tea, you've got just a little bit.
And I think there's still time.
Yeah.
So
our KALs running until the end of September.
So we've still got 6 weeks.
Have we got prizes yet?
We haven't got prizes yet.
There will be prizes. The FO thread is on. Is there one on Ravelry?
There's not an FO thread. There's not an FO thread. It's not, so you don't have to finish.
No.
The whole point of the KAL is to join in.
Yeah.
Post on Instagram only, I'm afraid.
If you want to email us.
Yeah, you can email us your pictures and we'll post them for you.
If you're not on Instagram.
Tell us you allow us to post on Instagram.
Well, by emailing them to us, we assume you.
Yeah, okay. Let's do that. And then we'll post them. But on Instagram, it's TNP
Alpine
Boom KAL, and that's in the description box below anyway for you to see.
Yeah. But yeah, just join in.
Yeah, that's all we want is people to join in. And I mean, you may not win a prize if you cast on, or you probably could. It's random. It'll be a random thing.
Yeah.
But if you cast on September 30th, I might be pushing it a little bit.
I mean, I say I love this pattern, and I possibly would knit a longer sleeve one and put the lace there. But I very rarely knit things twice because there's always the next thing that comes up and inspires me. But yeah, this is lovely, and this yarn is beautiful.
Yeah. So I'm desperate to knit a sweater in the citrus Holstein Coast that I bought. Just cannot find the pattern I want to knit. So anyway, that's a different story, isn't it?
So what other
FOs? Have you got FOs?
I've got
Don't we not?
this.
Yeah, but that's something else, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can talk
So
about.
I don't have.
Let's talk about that when we do our whip.
Yes.
When I do my whip, and then we've got.
And then I've also got a lady asked a question about the sweater, how I'd done my stripy sweater.
So while we're on shawls, I will quickly show you my Magnolia Heaven, which I finished this week, and then I've got a few pairs of socks to show. So this is Joe's pattern that was the Botanical Yarn Accessories Club in June, May. And I knitted mine out of Rowan Sock, the new Rowan Sock, which is like a single, but it's got nylon in it. And this is what the variegation is from, or the striping. But it's knitted, and then the mohair is KidSilk Haze, and I've talked about it a few times, so we'll get the information will be down below, but I can't remember at the moment. But what
the colours in it are and stuff.
Yeah, I think the sock is number 6, but I don't know what the mohair is. But I love it, and this became my next potato chippy shawl that I just wanted to finish. So
it's quite big.
Yeah, it's quite big. It's a bit deeper than Maggie shawl.
It's just the gauge with the different yarns.
And this hasn't been blocked yet, and I don't think I'm going to block it.
No,
because
I don't think I blocked mine.
I can't wait to wear it.
But it's so light because it's less than 50 grams of mohair and less than 100 grams of
only a little bit. I had a little bit left. But this is, I can't wait to wear it with my new navy blue blazer that I've got. I love it.
And it is really warm. The mohair makes it really warm.
Yeah, so this pattern isn't available yet on Ravelry, unfortunately. Another 3 months, I suppose. Yeah, after 6 months we can publish it. But you can get kits from Botanical Yarn, and Jo.
She had a specific colourway, but I think she would.
If you contacted her and you didn't like mauvey colours, for example, that she would switch the colours, because she was doing that for people. Yeah. So it's a skein of mohair and a skein of finger weight, and it's lovely. It's very cushy. I can't wait to wear it.
I wore mine the other day because I was walking to the office and it was like 12 degrees. Yeah. And then in the office it's also cold. Yeah. So it's perfect.
Yeah. So it's quite nice to have. So so I've got 2 of Joe's shawls off my needles. I've got a new one on my needles, and the next one after I finish this, I'm kind of test knitting for Joe at the moment. Once I finish, and that's going to be the next Botanical Yarn Accessories Club, I'm going to knit my Cecil. Yes. Right, so socks. So I finished, let's talk about the ones I talked about last time. Then I've got 2 with me. Well, because I might give one to Fran's sister. So I finished my Jomo socks, which is a pattern by me, which is free on Ravelry, in the Hallow Cream colourway from Botanical Yarn, which I cast on when we were at the open studio.
It's lovely.
And it is lovely, yeah. The variegation's beautiful.
It reminds me of Sweeties.
Yeah. And that's just got long cuff, 2x2 cuff, and then this cable that goes down the outside of each sock. I finished those. They have been talked about quite a few times. We won't dwell on them, but there are 2. And it's a really nice pattern, and it's also nice.
It's a free pattern.
It's a free pattern, and if you don't want to do the cable, it would be a good pattern for first socks, because obviously all my patterns I tell you how to do everything, but it would be a good plain sock as well. And then I always knit. So
it's not any point putting
there's no point putting the block. These are for my dad. Had I started them? No, I haven't started them. No. So I made put pressure on myself to knit another pair of socks for Dad. So he'd had 2 pairs in June for his birthday and Father's Day, and I like to knit him West Yorkshire Spinners, and this is last year's colourway from Yarndale, which is called Tristan, and the
It's
light,
lovely.
yeah, it's very nice and colourful. The light was back here, it doesn't show it, it looks a bit more muted, but is beautiful. And he knitting a, as I said before, knitting a sock for my dad is like knitting a sleeve. So he likes a 70 row leg. Anyway, he loves them, and he saw them yesterday, so
he's very
I took them back to show
particular.
Yeah,
isn't
he's
he?
very particular. He will say next time, I think a couple less rows on the foot because like, Dad, what do you know about it? Yeah, so there's 2 big socks for him. And then I felt like I have never knit a pair of socks for my stepmom before.
And can I just say, you don't normally do that kind of heel with stripes.
I don't, but I've got like this amber colour, this orangey colour. I thought I had, because I knitted him the gingerbread Christmas one. Could I find it? When I was taking them to the Churchill Hospital from that was another story. I ended up being there for 4 hours because somebody ticked me and didn't tick me by accident, and I didn't nobody came to see me. And I don't complain, so I just sat there knitting. Anyway, it was good because I nearly finished a sock. But the stripes worked out exactly. So I stopped on the yellow, started the heel with the orange, brown, pink, red, pink, navy, yellow for the heel turn, and then rust back up, orange back up to start the yellow, and they worked, and both were fine. So when it's a 6 colour stripe,
It works.
it works. And I've bought him as a treat. They just released 4 new birds for their bird signature 4-ply bird collection, and I bought him the J ones and the green woodpecker. Because we're not really talking about acquisitions, are we? Just a couple of things. And yeah, so the J are beautiful. I might have to knit those next spring. Yeah, so I've never knit my stepmom a pair of socks. It feels like a bit mean considering my dad only wears hand knitted socks now. But I knew she wanted hiking socks. So this again is Rowan Sock yarn. Oh, just bang the kit. Sorry, everybody. Bang the camera. This is the blues, which I can't remember the number of either. And I've done. So this dad had input in this as well. Makes your the legs long on Fran's. I said, Dad, I'm knitting her hiking boot socks. I'm not going to knit ankle socks, am I? So they've got an 80 row leg and a little cuff that when you fold it over, it matches. So I did like knit one
Purl one,
and then they match up when you fold it over.
Knit 1 purl and knit 2 purl too.
You start with a purl one so that on the foot you get a purl.
Right, okay, fine.
And they match up when you fold it over. But they're lovely. And this yarn actually at this gauge, 2.5 needles, is lovely and thick for hiking socks. And
you did the ribs so that they would fit her foot.
Yeah, I did the rib because I did 64 stitches, but she is quite a small person, so she put them on last night and they were perfect, weren't they?
She's so excited.
You can see them like that.
She was so excited.
I haven't blocked them. Yeah, I didn't want to touch them because I didn't want to make them too big or anything.
Yeah.
But she's a size 5, so they were for her.
So less on the foot, but more on the leg.
Yeah. And yeah, I love them.
And you managed to get them matching.
I know, somehow. I wound the ball into 2 50-gram balls.
Right.
And so I've got 2 little balls left over, which I can use for heels and toes and stuff. But yeah, so there's 25% polyamide in them. So it's like a proper sock yarn. But even though it feels like a single, so if you see it, I mean, I've no idea how they're going to wear or anything like that, and they are for hiking. So like for me, I don't wear 2 socks because I've got so many pairs that I wear them, I rotate them, and then they probably don't get worn. Although I have got my favourites. Maybe one day we could talk about favourite socks. Yeah, so that's those, and that's. Is that all the socks I had? Oh, I've got whips. I've got whips. The pink ones are my new design.
Oh, right, okay.
It's coming out next weekend before we podcast again.
Right.
So that is it. Now, moving on to whips.
Or oh right, okay.
Or do you want to talk about new designs?
I can talk about whips.
Because we can talk. If I talk about my whip, you can talk about. No, I'll do that last, and then you can talk about your new design.
I'll talk about Maggie, my current Maggie.
Okay.
Which is I'm keeping in this little bag. Which is by a company called Cerise Legato.
You talked about it before.
Cake. I've talked about it before, but I love it. And I am doing a Scrappy Maggie. So these are my colours. I've got a picture actually of the colours that I started with.
Lovely.
And they're all botanical yarn minis that I used for the floral facet collection patterns. And then this skein of merino linen, which is a one-of-a-kind lonely skein at the last.
And that's the maybe slightly darker than it is in real life.
Slightly greyer,
yeah,
I think. So this yarn gives it so much grade.
Yeah,
it's a beauty. I love it. I love a merino linen.
But she didn't go with the base, did she?
No, she didn't like the base because I don't like it. Doesn't take the dye in the way that she
dyed.
likes.
Yeah,
Sophie likes it. So all of my minis are different. They're not. There's like different bits of amounts of them left. So and all I'm doing is striping it with that yarn until I run out of each mini.
Yeah.
And then joining the next mini in. So let's see, that one was that long, that one was that long, that's that long, that's that long.
And it's all she wanted to knit on. And she's supposed to be finishing something else for next weekend.
I am.
And now you've lost a mini, haven't you? So
I've lost a mini, so I'm going to pause, but I don't think I'm going to find it. I think it probably came out in the aeroplane.
Aww.
But it also, I don't think it's going to matter in the grand scheme of things.
But it was a big one.
I think I would have ended up with some left over.
Right.
The only thing that is concerning me is that this has to go at the end because of the colour scheme.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that.
Right.
And I didn't really want a massive.
No. We'll get you another little. We can get you another little something.
So a paler blue or something for the end would be nice.
I've got. I'm sure I've got something.
But yeah, so and this is going to be for me, Maggie for me. I'm donating that one to the raffle.
So my next one is going to be a solid skein and a Zauber ball, crazy Zauber ball, in wintry colours, like an olive and
nice.
So that's going to be my Maggie.
Yeah, so that's one of my shawl whips. But I'm feeling a big sense of relief because two shawls that I've been designing all spring.
Yeah.
And now one's finished testing. Yeah. And the other one started testing this weekend. And it's always a little bit of a relief.
Yeah.
When you get to that stage. Actually, as a designer, the most daunting bit for me is putting it out there and asking people to test.
Yeah.
And then you get your reaction of also sometimes you have a bit of a time limit and that can impact as well. But
so for me at the moment I'm not doing proper test knits. I'm doing test knits, but I'm using my testers. Because which I've recently I heard on a few podcasts, people talking about on a few podcasts isn't a good thing, but I think for socks it's not, because the main bulk of it is sit the same each, like the actual
you've got
construction
your standard
of
heel,
it.
and people don't have to do that anyway, do
they don't. And it's just making sure the pattern works. Anyway, all my whips are living in my pamper bucket by Ho He & Co, which I love so much. Had to come with me. And this is living in my little grey girl sock sack bag that Joe bought me with a convenient little handle. And I cast on my August Birdstreet yarn.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Which is this month is Merlin.
I can't believe I haven't got any of this.
this is an old, I've had this a long time because it's got their old Mr. B tag, but it's beautiful, and it's got these lovely teals and purple and like burgundy and stuff. And I didn't want to do, well, I was going to just do a vanilla sock because we're coming on the plane. I thought, blah, blah, blah. But what I did was put the Maggie pattern on the sock, because I was umming and ahhing whether to do a Maggie sock, but I thought it's so lovely, why not do a Maggie sock and just raise it, and hopefully you can raise a little bit more.
You don't
money.
want to knit a shawl,
So
might want to knit a sock.
So this isn't going to be the sample for the pattern, because I will do a stripy one. And we were talking about doing just a
do you know what we could do?
What?
Maggie hat.
That would look amazing, wouldn't it? So it's got the garter panel down the front, and that will block. It makes it seem a bit shorter. I'm doing a 60-row leg, and that's about halfway, 2/3 of the way, and I'm thinking it's a bit short, but it will, when you wet block it, that'll open up a bit. And then it's got the lace on either side, and the slip stitches either side, and it's just a 4-row repeat, so it's a really simple pattern, but it's also very a unisex pattern, even though it's a little bit of lace. So I think, and then the colours, that's the yarn.
Oh, it's beautiful.
There's a bit more teal kind of on the front, but I love it, and that's what I was knitting. But yesterday we were sitting around a long time, but we didn't do any knitting while I used passenger assistance for the first time, and
they were amazing.
They were amazing. Although one of them wanted Jo to be his Princess Jasmine to his Aladdin, so we're lucky she's here.
They have this moving platform.
They call the magic carpet.
And he said, "Princess Jasmine, come on to Aladdin's magic carpet."
We were like, wonder how many times a day he says that. No, I didn't. Yeah. So those are my Maggie socks in progress.
Oh, shall I share mine next? My socks.
Yeah.
So I shared these before, and I have stalled a little bit on the second sock just because I've had to finish this, and I've had all these shawls to finish. But these are my Una socks that I'm knitting from 52 weeks of socks. I almost said shawls. 52 weeks of socks.
Part of the Dust 'em Off KAL.
Mal from Ruth Loves to Knit podcast. Oh, I've been watching back episodes of Ruth Loves to Knit. She makes me laugh so much. She has brought out a new episode recently, and she'd crocheted a yellow blanket
over a long time.
Yeah. Out of all of her, yellow's her favourite colour, and she's got loads of yellow scraps.
It was all her scraps. I couldn't believe it's so big.
It's like a double bed size blanket, and she said, "Let's go through all the colours."
Only joking.
And I was crying. She's so nice.
Yes, Rachel
doesn't like the heel.
Don't like eye of parts.
She doesn't like eye at all. But I really like the two little garters.
It's Hermione's everyday sock.
So I'm going to be doing that on my socks right now. Let's just do two. But anyway, so
the yarn is beautiful, though, isn't it?
The yarn is called Cranberry, and it's from Celtic Fibre Company.
And I have to say, to me, I was going to knit them as well, and yours look so much nicer than the ones in the book. And the pattern looks different.
Do you think I've done it wrong?
I don't know. They look closer together to me, or like not have. It looked very similar to a sock I've designed.
Right. And
I thought, I'm not doing that because it's a pain in the ass. But yours looks lovely.
Anyway, this is the second sock.
Oops.
So I've done the cuff.
But she's going to do some here, aren't you?
Yeah, I've done the cuff and 1 repeat and 2 repeats.
You're going to bring them in the car?
On the second one. So, I don't usually get to do car knitting.
You bring Betty.
Betty needs to get done. And there's a long time on the mal.
Yes.
So
end of the year, isn't it?
Yeah.
The mal runs to the end of the year. So my Jomo socks were.
Who are they by? Can you remember?
No, it'll be in the show notes.
Yeah.
We did. You talked about
I've talked about it before.
My Jomo socks were part of the mal because no, they weren't. Which ones were this part of the mal?
Pink Haze.
Pink Haze, because it was one of my patterns that I had before July 1st.
And I'm going to share my bag because I'm keeping all of mine in the Knitwit at the Shores.
That you bought in Portland.
I bought in Portland, Maine.
Lovely. So what else have you got?
I have got my Betty.
Okay, so I'll talk about my next sock. I think I've got two, and then one, and then yeah. So I have talked about these before.
Oh, that's your favourite yarn.
Yeah, these. I've got a needle in there. These. I don't know why.
Is it my needle?
No. I've got your needle to give you back, the little one. The other one,
you're keeping.
Yeah, not keeping it.
Right.
I haven't sewn my ends in there.
Okay. Fine.
Anyway, excuse us having a little twin discussion. So this is Caramel in Malabrigo Ultimate Sock, which I bought to try. It's their newest yarn.
What's different about it?
It's got nylon in it. So their sock, Malabrigo sock, is 100% merino.
Right.
High twist, so it does work for socks. I love it. If I could only take one yarn to a desert island, it would be Malabrigo sock. But it is lovely. It's soft. It's beautiful colour. And I just bought another one called Under the Sea. I think it's called. Or From the Sea.
We weren't meant to be buying yarn till Yarndale.
Oops. Right,
I bought yarn too.
So these I've bought some from Birdstreet on last Tuesday.
I bought yarn for you.
Yes, you have. I forgot to show you. You bought it.
I didn't bring the yarn I brought.
So these are the King George socks.
Oh, it's lovely.
So I haven't done a Bridgerton. I'm doing one sock for Bridgerton season 3, Colin and Penelope together, and I already had a Queen Charlotte sock from season 1, so I've done King George to but to go with Queen Charlotte, if you hadn't heard of my Bridgerton socks.
So when are you planning on releasing King George? Not for a bit.
So I haven't finished. I'm hoping to finish next week and write the pattern and then get it into testing. So maybe middle of September. And I'm going to do like a deal, like get Queen Charlotte free or get 50% off or something. I haven't decided yet. And people who love Bridgerton socks who found me have already bought Queen Charlotte, so I don't quite know what to do. Maybe I'll just do a discount. Hey ho, not a discussion to have here. Anyway, this is a unisex pattern, obviously, and it's from the Nora Gorn Twisted Stitches book, and it's called Wheat, which I thought was quite apt because he's Farmer George.
So I can't put it on the sock blocker because maybe I'll show the back. It's on the back, but it looks like it's beautiful, and so I'm going to finish that.
And we're thinking of having a Bridgerton sock.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, didn't we?
During season 3.
We'll start in November. I'll have the Colin and Penelope socks ready for November, so you can knit them. Or do you think they should release the pattern with the season? Yeah.
Because you've only got to skein the sock yarn, haven't you?
Yeah.
And then before that, we were thinking of having a KAL.
Yeah. For a month.
So when the Alpine Bloom KAL finishes, we'll have a KAL because we've got some KAL patterns that were
designed for Sophie.
Yeah, that we can then publish. Yeah.
And we've also got free KAL patterns.
And we've got a lot of KAL patterns.
So that you can join in if you don't want to buy a pattern.
Yeah.
You can still join in. And I'm using my Twill and Print Sheepy Progress Keeper, who's really cute. Yeah, so they have been on pause because they're not there wasn't a deadline for them, and other things had deadlines and stuff like that. But they'll be the next one. And I thoroughly recommend this sock yarn if you wanted to try it. Not as many colours as
the sock, obviously.
Mm.
And that is living in my So Yarnlicious autumnal, which kind of goes with the yarn. And I've got a little hurdy stitch mark.
Mm-hmm.
My dad's got a hurdy tea towel.
Yeah. No.
Yes, that's by So Yarnlicious. So we'll link her shop. We'll link all the shops below, hopefully.
My last whip that I bought.
I say
with
hopefully.
me.
Just do the show notes.
What do you mean?
You'd link the shop.
Yeah, I do link the shops. My last whip.
Yeah.
Of the ones that are here, because there are some at home that aren't here, is in my bag for botanical yarns that says buying yarn and using it, 2 different hobbies. And it's my Betty shawl. But before I share that, I'm just going to, this is my on the go notions page.
Hold it a bit closer because the colours.
It's Paris tweed, and I'm guessing it's meant to be a wallet.
Mm.
But it's really handy because
There are 3 pockets, aren't there?
3 pockets, scissors and a tape measure in there, a needle and nothing else in there. And then in this one I've got needle stoppers and some stitch markers. But I bought one for me and one for you and one for Sophie in different colours as a little present from Edinburgh when I went up last year. But it's perfect for taking away. I had it in our checked luggage, but I think those scissors would be fine.
Yeah.
So
We didn't need scissors on the way, did we?
I didn't need scissors. In fact, I don't think I'm going to need scissors, but in fact, I don't think I'm going to need any note. I might need a stitch marker. So this is my Betty shawl, which
you have shown before.
I have shown before, so I won't, but I'll just show the yarn quickly because it's so beautiful.
Pixie yarn.
Pixie Yarns merino silk lace. Silk? Was this one that had silk in it? Yeah, 80% merino, 20% silk. And the yarn's called Betty, so she's been referred to as Betty.
The colourway.
The colourway is Betty. So we've been calling the shawl Betty. My dad was getting very confused last night because Rachel was like, "Are you knitting on Betty or Maggie?" What? So I'm using the numbers from my Cecil shawl pattern to knit a garter, large garter lace weight shawl.
Because she's nuts. But you're halfway yet.
Over halfway. I've started the decreases. It's for my friend for her birthday.
And we're seeing her next weekend. So there's a proper deadline because her birthday was last month.
But I've got that much.
And it's decreasing now.
It's decreasing, it goes faster.
Yeah. So it's beautiful.
Mentally, it goes faster.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Beautiful.
very potato chippy. I thought I had one more thing to talk about, but
I do. This is even more boring. Not the other that's boring, that's beautiful. I brought this, I didn't mean that in that
boring.
way.
It is boring.
It is. It's not like, so
it's simple.
I knitted.
And it's not going to be a pattern. If you want to do it,
Yeah.
you need to buy Cecil
And just use the numbers.
and use the numbers from Cecil.
So I bought a skein. So I previously knit this tube cowl in woolen flower yarn.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it so much. It's like 30 minutes of knitting in the morning, an hour in the morning. And I just thought of all the yarn that I've got that I could turn into these tube cowls, especially this skein. So the reason really that I'm bringing it to show you now is to talk about the yarn. And this is 100% cashmere lace weight from Yarn Tellier. And I've got the thing. Beautifully presented. So Yarn Tellier cashmere lace. And this is in the colourway Mist, which is number 1. And I bought it at Ravel a couple of shows ago, I think the one before last. And you got
Since lockdown.
And you got a free pattern with it.
Because I bought a skein of it
Before.
in a coral. I knit a hat.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
And they give you a lovely little bag to keep it in, and you get a free pattern. Well, they have free patterns. And I was going to knit a cowl, a free pattern cowl, and it's so much nicer knitting in the round stocking stitch. So I just cast on, I think I've got 160 stitches, and I'm trying out the Mindful Knit Pro new Mindful needles, which I did talk about last time, but these are on there. This was the first time I used their 360 cable. I really like it, and it's on 3.25. And
How long's the cable?
40, I think.
Right.
And the word on this one is Imagine. And so what I've been doing is putting in a marker. So I'd started it before I thought about doing this. So I put in a marker, and then I do that's a week of 30 minutes of knitting from there to there. And then this week I didn't do any yesterday. So I might do a bit this evening while we're just chatting.
It's got quite a lot of twist, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's so soft, and it's so, full disclosure, a skein of this was £25. So I'm really enjoying it, and I was thinking, oh, I wonder if they've got a navy blue to fulfil my navy blue coping, even though I've got plenty of lace weight navy blue yarn, which I can use. And I went on the website, and it's now £37 a ball. So I will not be having a navy blue cashmere cowl. I will be having a navy blue fibre spates scrumptious lace, which is probably just as nice. Yeah. So, and also a bit double the length, so I could do like a 800 metre one. This is only 425 metres per, because it's only 50 grams, but will be a lovely little thing to have around your neck, won't it? At this moment in time, I cannot imagine being cooler.
No, I have a shop bought pale grey cashmere cowl from John Lewis that my friend gave me for my
You lent it to me
year.
when I was poorly.
Yeah, and it's just the perfect little thing to sit around your neck when you're a little bit chilly.
Yeah, so that's the last whip I brought with me.
No, you didn't. Oh, you've got another whip.
Have I? Oh, I have got another whip. I've got a big whip. So, shall I talk about No, you talk about yours and I'll talk about my whip.
Okay.
Because yours is finished. So we asked if we could talk about this before it's released at the end of August, because we wanted to wanted to generate a bit of interest in the club, and it's so beautiful that we think that if we need to promote it as well as Sophie, don't we?
Yeah.
So Jo's knitted a triangle shawl in Sophie's non-superwash base, which is absolutely beautiful. So you get two in the club. You always get two skeins of yarn. The first one was DK. The second one was mohair and
a skein of fingering.
Yeah.
And this will be two skeins of fingering.
And then Jo designs a pattern.
Yeah, and I think you could. No, these colours. These will be the club colours.
Yeah, but these are two of her standard colours now.
Yeah,
and it's got.
And it doesn't have a name yet.
No, it doesn't have. So, have you got any ideas? So this is the shawl. We'll just hide our faces for a minute. Isn't it beautiful? Isn't it beautiful? So it's pampas grass,
and it's in this like textured basket weave pattern,
which is lovely.
That is addictive.
It is. You could do a whole thing in that. And then Jo's been obsessed with. They're called welts.
Yeah, I've been obsessed with welts.
And she's been trying to get them on something for ages. And these are picot welts. So you can see that they have this little scalloped. This is the stage that I've just finished my first welt. So yeah, and then there's a beautiful pattern section, more like intricate slip stitch and kind of. They're called cables, but it's not really a cable.
Well, you basically slip stitches and then you move it with a cable needle.
Yeah, just to make these arrow.
To make these like leaf arrow sections. And then there's another welt. And then
some lace.
Yeah, and then the lace creates the scallop before it. And then I blocked mine straight, but you could block it and you could pull out every
each lace
section if you wanted to, but I like it straight. So shall I put it on? So we haven't got a name, and I can't remember the name of the blue, of the teal.
Salvia
blue. So we're trying to think of something that's botanical.
What about bluegrass?
I was thinking blue ribbon, which was a biscuit when we were kids. Do they still make blue ribbons? I don't eat chocolate, so I don't know about that kind of thing.
They're not very nice.
Wafers.
Wafer and chocolate ratio is not correct.
Yeah.
I'd rather have a Kit Kat.
So,
So all the when you wear it, all the pattern, gorgeous pattern is in the front.
And I just love the way that it joins in the middle, then the triangle.
Yeah. So that's how. Well, Sophie's away, so it may be slightly delayed.
Yeah.
But it's
towards the end of August, beginning of September.
And I'm going to show my colours.
And then the next accessories club will be towards Christmas, and we're thinking of doing a hat and mittens for that.
So the first one was DK, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Willow tree.
We'll probably do DK again.
And that pattern will be coming out this end.
That's part of the KAL release.
Oh right, okay.
So that'll be the three. Your festive flower cowl, my Sophie cowl, and the willow tree cowl
will all come out.
Will come out in October, ready for the KAL. But yeah, so ideas for shawl names would be very much appreciated. I'm going to do a cowl version
for you,
which I might add on to the pattern when we release it.
Right, good idea. But definitely this yarn has blocked.
Beautiful.
It's so beautiful. So if you get your chance to get your hands on some non-superwash merino. It's gorgeous.
And I particularly love the pampas grass.
Yeah, and mine is not knitted in that yarn, but it is drapey. A bit drapier, isn't it?
I think your gauge is slightly looser than mine.
Yeah. Well, you knit tighter than me.
So maybe you should have done it on 3.5.
Yeah.
I hope you're going to have enough yarn.
I haven't got to do that much more.
No.
With the
I had 10 grams left over.
So I'm using, my two colours are these. That's navy blue on yak, and that's Belika yarn. It doesn't have a colourway name. I bought it in her bargain bin at
Summer.
No. The one we went to with Chris.
Oh,
in January. Not Epping Forest. Waltham Abbey yarn show. So it's very dark navy. And this, we don't know. We think it's on yak. I think you gave it to me. I think you had it in a mystery bag from Sophie.
No, I knit Dad's hat in the green mystery yak.
Oh. Anyway, we don't know where it's from. It's got no tag, but it's a lovely green. So I'm on section 2 now. So I've done my basket weave, and I'm just done my first welt, Pico welt, and I've done my first bit of the leaf design. It's very difficult to show you. How can we show you better? It's on a too small a cable.
I'll hold that end so it doesn't come off.
So there's
you can stretch it out a bit.
Yeah, there's the start of the leaf. There's not too much navy to show behind. Anyway, it looks like it's going to look like Joe's.
And it's quite nice to see it in a the green is lighter than the.
Yes, you can see the navy blue behind the green, and then the reverse stocking stitch is gonna be fine as well. Not stocking stitch. Or was it garter? Was it garter? The back of the garter.
It's the back of the garter.
Yeah. And the blue definitely stands out against the green for the welts and stuff. Yeah, so enjoying doing that. And that is living in my beautiful bag that Maggie, my friend Maggie, bought me by a person called Lovely Lydia. So lots of lovelies, lovely Maggie and lovely Lydia. And it's got beautiful, like, Liberty material inside.
Nice.
So I just dropped something on the floor.
The Yarn Tellier tag.
So we've got one more thing to talk about.
New design.
Yeah.
And then I'll answer that lady's question.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember who it was. I'll look up who asked the question.
I think they asked me.
No,
Oh, it's on a comment, was it?
Yeah.
Right.
But you might get the very beginning of a
I'll show the one I blocked.
podcast while I try and work that out.
Block the second one. Anyway, these are the February. But it's actually easy to show it not on a blocker because the pattern's on the front and the back. These are the Bougainvillea bouquet socks in this beautiful, very bright pink that if you love botanical yarn, then you love. Most people love it. And people did go a bit mad for this one. And it's got this lace on the front with little lace down each side. You can see. And then the back has just got the little lace motif and it goes up into the cuff. So yeah, so this pattern will be out next weekend with a discount. So look out for that. And I'm still shocked that we're already selling 2023 Sock Club patterns. And Sally Trollope has asked me to put last year's into an ebook. And there's 12 patterns, obviously. And my main problem at the moment is how much to charge for it.
Why don't you do 2 ebooks and do spring, summer, autumn, winter?
That's a very good idea.
Full of them.
Yeah, you are. That's a brilliant idea, Jo, because
nobody wants to pay
£36. But then if you do it less, everyone who had the discount, everyone who's buying it now gets more of a discount than the people who bought it when you released it. So yeah, that's a brilliant idea. And when I have on my new chemo, brain cells, well, connections between brain cells, shall we say. I've still got the brain cells, but the connections between, have a lot of the week I'm not able to use my laptop, even to I can't see properly with the steroids, and anyway, you don't want to hear about that. But on the days it works, I will try and produce 2 ebooks. See, we needed to talk about it to
generate the idea. So
who is it?
Are we moving on to this?
Yeah,
right.
So we're over an hour already.
On the last podcast, we had a comment from Trish Becker 4202, and she said, "Hi Jo, I love your micro striped sweater. It looks so elegant the way you have the dark stripe down the back where you've swapped yarns. Would you be able to explain with a close-up exactly how you did it? I've tried myself to recreate, but it didn't go great. Thank you so much for your podcast. I watch each time you send out a programme and love each one. Happy holidays, girls. Hopefully we get to meet your dad." You lucky ladies, because you are, or knitters, because you are going to get to meet our dad. So for anybody who wasn't here last time,
were you wearing it? I don't know if you were wearing it.
I can't remember, but
you worn it when it's finished. You must have worn it.
This is my material girl that was inspired by a Pearl Soho pattern with a micro stripe.
But Jo didn't want to pay for it.
I didn't want to pay for the pattern, so I put the micro stripe onto Material Girl. I missed out the short rows because micro striping in a short row is you just have to, you can only do one row and then you've got to cut your end and come back. So I didn't bother. and it's fine.
Yeah.
The yarn is woolly knit cotton.
On a cone.
Natural and black. And I will be
Lovely.
buying the merino black and natural, and I'm going to do a long sleeve one in wool for the winter.
And on the back,
where you swap your yarns, you obviously, with a 1 row stripe, you can get a jog. So I've added this.
And there are people have a few methods to try and not to do the jog.
I always get
and none of them work for me.
No, and particularly on a 1 stripe, a 1 row stripe. Yeah. They're so close together. Like when you've got a bigger stripe, you can pick up a leg
but it's also tempting to pull tighter as well, and you don't. This stops that altogether.
So I'm going to try and remember what I did, and I can show you the inside. So I basically took 3 stitches. So there's my beginning of round.
And that could have been the cream or the white.
It could have been the cream or the black, but I chose the black. And I took 3 stitches. So there's my beginning of round. So the first 3 stitches of the round I slipped. So when I had them in white, I slipped the 3 black stitches. Yeah. And then, so I knit around in white. I picked up the black yarn. I knit them. And then I knit them again. Slip them and knit them again.
Right.
So they got knit the same number of times.
Right.
As the other stitches, but they were always knit in black.
Right.
So at the end of a white row, I
slipped them.
No, I stopped knitting in the white yarn, and I picked up the black and I knit the 3 stitches.
So where was the
black
yarn?
And then so I had to pull it across. So inside you can see that the yarn gets pulled across.
You got a bit better at it, didn't you?
Yeah.
But it forms more of a bunch.
Yeah,
it forms more of a
like
seam.
Of an I-cordy type.
Yeah.
Thing. But you're on your needles. You knit to the end of the. You get to the end of the cream. Drop the cream yarn. Twist it so you don't get a hole. Pull the yarn, the black yarn from 3 over. Knit them, knit the black yarn round, knit the 3 again.
Right.
Pick up the cream, start the cream after
pull
the 3
cream over behind.
Yeah. Knit round. So hopefully, Trish, that explains. If it doesn't,
Jo will write it down for you and send it.
Message me on twinsetandpurl@gmail.com and I will try and write down what I did.
And you're going to be doing it again. So
I am going to be doing it again. Yes. So
she did it, and it did get much neater, everybody.
Still, because it's cotton, they haven't cut my ends.
No, so they poke through.
Through. But it's beautiful yarn.
Yeah, so
I've
soft.
Still got enough left to knit a shawl.
I've got 3 cones of this.
What colours have you
got?
Black,
cream and grey.
Oh.
I bought. I was going to do a cream and grey rocket tee.
Anyway,
but I might do.
It's lovely.
If I ever knit another sweater,
I might wear that today.
Yeah, good plan.
Right, so all I've got to talk about just briefly is my yarn that you bought me.
A little present, and we did have a present yesterday, which we thought we'd just talk about because, why not? It's our podcast.
Yeah.
So Jo spent a week in Scotland, travelling around quite a lot, didn't you?
Yes.
And you went to the Woolly Brew. It's very crinkly, I'm afraid. I'll show this side. You went to the Woolly Brew.
Woolly Brew in Pittenweem.
And she bought me these beautiful minis, which are sock yarn, merino nylon. And they're
called
Windmill Skies 2023. And it was from a picture, wasn't it?
I think it's a walk. It's based on a walk from Pittenweem to a windmill.
Right. And they're just, I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. Scrappy socks or a Maggie. They are beautiful. And it's finding the background colour that would be right for the Maggie. Yeah, so they go from pale grey to this stormy kind of.
I think a navy blue
Yeah.
would work.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to, in September, I'm going to 3 yarn shows. So I'm not allowed to buy yarn before Yarndale, and I'm going to the Southern and Unravel. That's mean.
Anyway. We weren't planning on, I wasn't going to go, I'm not going to the Southern because I'm away. And we weren't planning on going to Unravel.
But now we are.
So
if anyone's
we are allowed to buy
if
yarn.
anyone's at either of all of those 3, then
yeah, we'd love to
let us know and we'll meet up. Yeah, so those are a present. And she also bought me a little pit. That was from, no, that wasn't from there.
That was from Dundee.
And it's Love is Love, little.
So there was, we went to a cafe for lunch.
Put on my
which was a New Zealand cafe, and they had those. I thought, oh, that's really cute. And so it was really funny, actually. Not really funny, but slightly amusing. We ordered, and the girl said, do you want to pay now or pay afterwards? And I said, oh, I'll pay afterwards, because then if it's good, I'll add a tip. Because when cafes, when you don't know whether it's like, do you add a tip? Do you not add a tip? So I said, yeah, I'll
do you say that too?
Yeah. And I'd put one of those for you and one of those for me on the bill.
Right.
I had a jacket potato. Chris had a wrap.
Yeah.
And a coffee.
I thought you were going to wait for pudding. That's why you were going to.
No. Anyway, I then didn't pay. He paid.
So
he went off and paid.
So he bought the.
I don't know if he added a tip, but he went off and paid it. And he came back and he went, £37 for the jacket potato. I was like, whoops.
There were 2 little pins on it.
Yeah.
So thanks, Chris. So the last thing to talk about, Jo. So yesterday we had a little bit of time. Once she left me and I was tired. I'd travelled from my house on the train, met Jo and got the bus to Bristol Airport, which drops you off down.
Oh, they've got a new system. It used to drop you by the door of arrivals,
and now they walk up an incline.
Now they've got a bus station now.
And I'm walking with a walking stick now, so we took our time, but I think I sweated, perspired from 10 a.m. like non-stop.
Yeah, it was pretty warm.
So we just left me with an iced coffee in the passenger assistance bit. Jo went off to have a quick look in duty free and stuff, and then she was ages. And they told us our flight was delayed, so it didn't matter. But she came back she bought, I suppose, a Chanel lip balm lipstick thing. And they're lovely, aren't they? And Jo's
it's our twins trip.
Yeah.
Treats.
So Jo wanted this one, which I preferred, and bought that one. But this one, it doesn't look like that on you. It goes with her sweater perfectly.
Mine is a coral,
and mine's like a burgundy.
They're so sheer though.
Yeah, and it's called.
They're lovely.
Mine's called Sweet Treat, and yours is.
So I have a similar one. The similar ones from Bobby Brown, but they're much less colour.
Yeah, and like shinier. These are nice. Yeah. Anyway, so if you want to treat yourself,
flirty coral
and sweet treat.
And
they're lovely. And I did have it on, but I think I've been biting my lips a bit. But yeah. So,
and now we will be segueing to
a
little but a little section with our dad and stepmum. And we might take some pictures of the Isle of Man and add them in.
Yeah, pictures, like the videos are a bit more tricky.
A couple of pictures if we
can.
We're
going out.
I mean, the weather's meant to be rubbish, so we may not do that bit.
And we're going out for lunch to a place called Victory Cafe, which supposedly has the best pie on the island.
So we're looking forward to that.
And it's right next door, right near to a statue that our brother cast, his company cast the bronze statue. So we'll see that. So it's quite a family orientated weekend, lovely weekend. and we hope you've enjoyed what we've had to show you today.
Yeah.
So there'll be.
So the next time it will be much more acquisition heavy.
Yes.
Because we haven't brought them all with us.
Yeah, I don't think we even talked about. Oh, we did talk about quite a lot last time, maybe.
Yeah.
Last time, but.
So we're meeting up again next weekend.
So we could do an acquisition one.
Yeah, and then you've got. Then I'm away.
Yeah.
We could. The next proper one will probably be
After
Unravel.
So there'll be lots. Well, we're not planning on going mad.
No.
At all. So.
Cool.
You know how these things happen, though.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes you just can't resist, can you?
Yeah.
As we say.
Buying yarn and
Buying
using
yarn
it.
and using it.
Two different things.
Two different hobbies. Right.
So.
Lovely to chat, everybody, and
have a great weekend.
Watch this bit, and then we'll.
And this isn't going to go up until we get home.
No.
Because things don't. Wi-Fi's not as good here, basically.
Right.
So, bye.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the guest appearances of our dad, Tony, and our stepmom, Fran. And we just thought we'd get them to pop in while we're in the Isle of Man. Dad's going to share some of his favourite knits that Rachel's knit for him. Fran's going to share her knitting, which she's knit for a while, but she started again during lockdown, and she's been knitting one of Rachel's designs. So we thought we'd just share that with you, and
I'm just going to sit here and look pretty.
Rachel's going to tell us all the yarns that she's used, because I don't know what they are. So this is our last day. We're flying home this afternoon. We've had a lovely time. We've had much better weather than anticipated, although it is a little bit grey today. But we're off to have brunch in a minute, so we're just going to have a little quick show and tell.
Right.
So Dad, what have you got to share?
My hat.
Yeah.
This is in
Botanical yarn.
Botanical yarn.
The Unravel colourway from 2022, which I designed a pair of socks in, called the Twin Flower Socks.
Right.
And I had an extra skein, and I know how much you like yellow, honeybee yellow. So he calls it his honeybee hat, don't you?
I do. It's like a hive. I call it my hive.
Do you want to pop it on?
And
everyone's heard of the Musselburgh hat, but we will link. We'll put it in the show notes.
it's a bit big for summertime. But in the winter, it's perfect because you can cover your head and keep nice and warm when you're walking around.
And Fran can always spot you because
in the
you
island.
can always be found.
Always see the one with the mustard head.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
It's a lovely hat.
Yeah.
Enjoy that. And am I going to
Just
introduce my socks?
Yeah, but you can talk about how much you love the socks.
I love my socks.
How many pairs have you got, do you think?
I don't know exactly.
At least
I've
10.
got more than 10. But
You only wear hand knit
a
socks
drawer
now,
full.
don't
I
you?
only wear hand knitted socks.
So much so that he has to have a special hand washing of the socks day. And when I arrive to see him, there is a row of colourful socks on the radiator.
But they're only ever worn for 2 days at the most, and then they go into the wash, and they're hand washed in almost cold water.
It's very good.
With a very special liquid soap, especially for woolen garments.
He's trusted now to have hand knitted socks. So these,
And
Did you shrink a pair?
he did shrink a pair.
You shrunk one pair, and then you were taught how to do it properly, weren't you?
Yeah.
yeah,
Let's
I'm
just
I'm a man-
I'll
I'm a
just
man-
quickly.
I'm a man who always learns from his mistakes.
So these I knitted Dad for Father's Day this year, and they are knitted out of a commercial yarn, Katia Ava, AAVA. I can't remember the colourway, but they were in the podcast not too long ago because it was only June was Father's Day. and it's beautiful sock yarn. It's merino and nylon, and lovely colours for the self-striping. And I've got one more ball. I'm going to knit him up.
Beautiful socks to wear, and talking about wear, they seem to last for ages, especially if you only wear them for 2 days and wash them carefully by
Especially if you have
hand.
10 pairs, you can rotate.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So
They're
those,
lovely. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you wear them? You wear them in the summer as well. You wear them all year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wear them all year. I only ever wear woolen socks, hand knitted by my daughter, my youngest daughter, for me.
Because we've already had the conversation this morning that
That's right.
I'm never going to be knitting him socks. I'm not a sock knitter.
So
I hardly knit myself socks, let alone knitting.
Have you knitted me a scarf for it?
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
A cowl.
Yeah.
You
I've
knitted
knit
me
you a
a
hat
cowl.
as well, but apparently it's too big.
Well, you knitted me the cowl, and then
we all think you've got a big
we
head.
haven't had a cold enough day to wear
No,
the
we
cowl.
haven't had a whole enough day to wear the cowl.
Did you make this, or did Rachel do this?
Rachel did that.
Rachel knitted the
That's your
beehive,
honeybee hat.
the honeybee hat.
Right.
And I've got other hats as well, but
Yeah. You only picked a couple of
We
things.
picked a couple of
I
things.
picked about a dozen objects, and I was told to reduce it to 2.
So now it's Fran's turn, I think.
Yeah. So I'm very fortunate to have the twins as on-hand WhatsApp answering all my queries of knitting. But I was taught to knit as a child by my maternal grandma, but I'm classed as a beginner really. But I really enjoy it,
think
and
No, because you managed to knit lace. That's
I
not a
have
beginner.
managed to
That's
knit.
not a beginner
I
skill.
think you're
an emerging intermediate, let's call me.
have to challenge yourself,
Yeah.
don't you?
So I've been knitting mainly KALs. I've done a few hats in the past, and once I did some baby clothes for someone. But obviously having Twinset and Purl here on hand, I can do a bit more. So I've been knitting the Cozy Companion KALs, which they buy that yarn I've been buying from Pearlescence. And you can get like the pattern and the 2 different yarns that you use. So you knit it with a
Fibre spates,
scrumptious
4-ply,
and a cumulus,
also by fibre
which
spates,
you
yeah.
have to have 2 of. The first time I ordered it, I only ordered 1, and then realised I should have ordered 2. But anyway, so this is the one I did. I've done so many now because I did.
But they have a really good thing on the website, don't they, where you can
Yeah.
put your colours together.
Yeah.
Well, not what you can see how it knits.
Oh, the
but you
website's
can-
great.
Because
Yeah,
there's like
you can.
40 colours of things on it.
So you can model it with, putting your base colour, and then so I did one for my sister, and she was with me at the time, and we must have been on the colour matching thing for about an hour. She kept changing her mind all the time, and in the end we had to do 2 because she couldn't decide. So I've now knitted I think 8 Cozy Companion KALs, because every time I did one somebody would say, oh, can I have one? And then I did them for my friends that I was at university with. We're all still friends after 40 years of physio school, and I did 1 each for their 60th birthdays when we went for a weekend away. And this was mine. So mine's done in persimmon and coral, which is lovely and really snuggly. I think probably I should have done it with a more contrasting cumulus than I did. But I love it nonetheless, and I've got like a nice
Some people
jacket that
like
has-
a matching.
yeah.
Because you get
A lot of
it's
yeah.
about the softness.
A lot of my testers
the
just
fluff.
match
This adds so much softness.
Yeah,
And it's light.
and it's not.
Because
It's
if you put 2 skeins, because you could knit it with 2 skeins of that together, but
Yeah.
it wouldn't be as light
no.
as if you have
And
this
that,
in it.
that
'Cause
is
this is
amazing.
obviously called cumulus
Yeah.
because it's like a cloud.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so they're so lovely, and everybody has loved them, and everybody goes oh, and then they put them on like this, and they get all snuggly, and we all go round in our cozy companion. I somewhere have a photo of my college friends and I all wearing ours, all different colours. And
Maybe
then
you can send us the photo and we'll pop it in.
Yeah, because
Oh,
we're
yeah.
we're gonna have, after we finish the Alpine Bloom KAL, we're gonna have a KAL for a month.
Fab.
Yeah, we've got a few KAL patterns to be
Excuse me.
because we designed them in collaboration with other people, and we haven't been able to actually publish them on our site yet. So in October we're going to publish all the patterns and have a KAL ready for Christmas for gifting and
Brilliant. Well,
So this is the next one, isn't it?
And so I'm knitting one last cosy companion KAL before I go on to a more ambitious design. And this one is for one of my son's girlfriends who loves black and white. And this is, I think, called, well, it's a kind of white, but it's a beautiful pearly.
It's called Pearl.
I think it might be called Pearl.
it's
I
beautiful.
can't
It's got
remember
real,
because
it's
I
got real
wound
luster.
it on my wonderful
silk.
winder.
It's like silk and
The luster's
yeah,
amazing.
and
It
like merino,
is.
isn't it?
And then the Humulus is called Noir.
Shall I show those closer to the?
Yep. Beautiful.
And if you go on the
They'll be
Pearl
lovely
Essence
together.
website, you can see they modelled them on a dummy on
Yeah.
a thing, and that is one of the ones that I knitted as a sample, and I really wanted it back, but the owner liked it. Jonathan liked it, so he
liked
kept
it.
it. So I can knit another one. I did knit quite a few at the time. I knitted 4 samples for them, and didn't get any back. So I haven't got one of my own.
Oh,
Need to
you
knit my-
need one.
Did
Oh,
so?
no, Maggie
I
knitted
knitted
me
a new
one.
one.
Maggie knitted me one.
Did she?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. So that's I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be her Christmas present, and she's got a lovely grey raincoat that she'll wear it with, I think. And lastly, this is my project bag. I only have one, but I usually only have one project at a time. And this is from Botanical Yarns Sophie. Yeah. And I love it because it's got all these beautiful butterflies on, and it's just
And
the right
it was
size.
a surprise.
It was a gift from these girls, so I love my project bag. So
Yeah, it's
that's
beautiful.
my current state of play.
Yeah.
So knitting is in the family.
Yeah.
So you need to teach Nicole next.
I will. Yeah, she's quite into the whole. Will and Nicole live on the Isle of Man too, and they like it when I have to do the yarn from the skein onto the ball, because I've got this beautiful what's it called?
It's a winder.
Swift and a winder.
Yeah, and the what is that the Swift?
That's the Swift, yeah.
And that's from
Belinda Harris Reed, and it's
Yeah.
rosewood. Yeah.
Made of rosewood, and it's really beautiful. It's actually on one of my shelves as a sort of thing of beauty as well as a thing of use. All things of beauty should be useful.
Yeah.
So
They
really,
like winding the wool, do they?
so they wind the wool. Yeah. So they're like, oh, can we have a go? So I sit there and let them do it. They all get excited about it, and then I end up with my ball. But Nicole hasn't seen this one yet.
Knitting is in our blood, we butlers, because my father knitted Fair Isle knitting, beautiful jumpers he used to knit with Fair Isle patterns on them, and my mother knitted a lot, and she taught us, myself and my sister, at quite a young age to knit. It wasn't long before I found other interests, but I did once knit a kind of long, thin creature with legs and arms. I think it was meant to be a sort of bear of some kind, but it was so long and thin.
It wasn't a bear.
It didn't look like a bear at all. But I kept it on my pillow
Oh, she did.
for years.
Did Auntie Anne knit? I don't remember seeing Anne. She sewed more than knit, didn't she?
She was busy.
She sewed. She used
Yeah.
to sew a lot.
Yeah.
Auntie, our side, mum's side of the family.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was. Her sister Hilary used to knit Aaron's and sell them in
Yes.
America, and knit for Karen Millen and stuff.
That's right.
So we have got a big business. And Granny taught us, Mum's mum taught us to knit.
So it's in the blood, isn't it?
Yeah. I used to knit mohair coats for a shop when I was like 14.
That's really
Like
enterprising.
cold, but no, you must have found out somehow.
She knew Mum, and we used to knit them in pieces, and then she'd sew. I just knit the pieces, and she'd sew them together, and then sew these big sequined paisley shapes onto the.
In the 80s, it
Oh,
was
yeah.
hot blue
Yeah.
and cerise
Yeah.
pink.
And she used to pay me like £70 to knit. I could do it in a weekend. with big
Oh,
needles and
brilliant.
mohair. Yeah, it was great. Anyway, that's a little
Now
aside.
we've been.
No, we've been more longer than we planned.
Bit of
Anyway, so
history.
we're off to get some brunch.
Yep.
We're going to a place called
No,
Noah's Bakehouse.
Yeah.
So if you're ever on the Isle of Man, it's a good place to go for brunch.
Yeah.
We're going to.
very good.
Dad's been telling us about it for a long time, so we're going to go and try it out.
We're going to have Turkish eggs, some of
Yeah,
us.
and then we might go for a walk down to Port Erin, depending on the weather, and then we're popping to the airport to see us off.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we'll get a chance to meet up again soon. But yeah, so for now we'll just say goodbye.
Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for inviting us onto the podcast.
Bye.